Good morning, everyone, and thank you all for being here this morning in this extraordinary community of Summit. We were just privately talking about how really special this town is, and it's a great thrill to be here. I also want to thank the leaders who are with me today, and I don't say this lightly. They've got plenty of things they could be doing, and it's an honor that they're here. So, Senate Majority Leader Senator Loretta Weinberg, Senate Minority Leader Tom Kean, Assemblyman John McKeon, and Assemblywoman Nancy Munoz, and we're right across the street from your office. So we've got an eye on you, and you have on us. Want to thank each and every one of you for your commitment to improving New Jersey transit and for your work to hold its leadership accountable. And I say this with great pride. You all will be our partners in turning this system around. And I'm particularly touched. And I want to note that it is a bipartisan group of leaders here today. And we promised last Tuesday, and we promised privately, whenever we can find common ground, we want to say that not just privately, but to express that publicly. I also want to thank Freeholder Chair Sergio Granados, who is with us somewhere. Sergio, where are you? Right here. Thank you for being here, to you and your Freeholder colleagues here in Union County. Mayor Nora Radist, who is with us. Mayor, honored that you would have us here today. Thank you for hosting us this morning. And to all the other officials and dignitaries who are here today. A month ago, we nominated Diane Gutierrez-Scacchetti to serve as our next Commissioner of Transportation. By the way, she would be here, but I believe she's literally moving from Florida as we speak, having run the Florida Turnpike for the past 8 years. At that day, I said that one of our highest priorities must be to get New Jersey Transit working again for the fare-paying public. We cannot continue with a system that has increased fares 36% over the past 8 years, even as customer experience eroded. We cannot continue with a system whose culture tilted toward providing landing spots for connected individuals instead of hiring experts steeped in transportation and infrastructure. We cannot continue with a system that led the nation in accidents and breakdowns. We cannot continue with a system that has been so starved by Trenton that it has been forced to raid long-term capital funds to pay for day-to-day expenses, delaying much-needed upgrades, including those to passenger safety. We cannot continue with a system whose customers are all too often left on the platform without any explanation for delays. Good morning, folks. Everyone good? Speaking of the devil, I hope things are on time. I believe they are largely on time here in Summit today. We made it clear that we would not accept things as they are. This is an agency that must be boiled down to its essentials and then put back together again. And today we take that first step. This morning, after remarks from my fellow colleagues here, I'm going to sign an executive order directing a comprehensive strategic, financial, and operational audit of New Jersey Transit. This audit is to include a critical review of NJ Transit's funding, leadership structure, personnel hiring, and customer service. It will evaluate NJ Transit's relationship with Amtrak and implementation of positive train control, which is a major, desperately needed safety feature. I'm also ordering this audit to be undertaken and completed as expeditiously as possible. The public cannot be left waiting for answers, and neither will I, and neither will we. I pledged during the campaign that I would call for this audit, and today we are delivering on that promise. If we are to make this system work again for the hundreds of thousands of daily riders who rely upon NJ Transit for work and to go about their days, we must begin here and now. And this is day 6 for us, so we're getting to this quickly. The public deserves a true accounting for how this once model agency has fallen so far, so fast. These folks did not realize they're going to be playing a cameo in our deliberations this morning. Not only does the public deserve that accounting, those of us in government with the ultimate responsibility for the system deserve it. And we have been largely, and I know I speak for my colleagues, who have largely been kept in the dark. As clear as the need for reform is, I want to make something else equally and importantly clear. This audit is also being done to support the thousands of NJ Transit employees who dutifully show up for work every day to serve the public. The drivers, engineers, maintenance workers, and many others I have met over the past years take pride in their work, and they desperately want to once again take pride in where they work. Here in Summit, Mayor, I think this is right, more than 3,000 rail passengers rely upon NJ Transit to get to and from work every day. They suffered through the so-called summer of hell when the Morris-Essex line was rerouted through Hoboken, leading to longer commutes and more headaches. Even last month, so this is December of 17, nearly 12% of rush hour trains along this line were late. And as we stand here, the reports this morning suggested that the Bergen County line trains on average are running 30 minutes late with multiple cancellations. We just can't have that go on. Our goal must be a new New Jersey Transit that will begin with a new culture in its management and a new commitment in Trenton to getting this system right. And when I say in Trenton, I mean in the executive branch in particular. I'm hopeful that I soon will be back with you and with Diane to announce the new leadership that this system desperately needs and deserves. With the results of this audit in hand, that person or persons will have a roadmap for where reform is most desperately needed. And in the hundreds of thousands of New Jerseyans crying out for better service, they will also have their mandate to bring about that reform. We cannot turn around everything overnight, but today we begin the hard work of restoring NJ Transit. Good morning, sir. And once again, making it a national model for all of the right reasons. As I invite Senate Majority Leader Loretta Weinberg to please come up and join me, I was thinking the other day, Senator, that you and I, when we speak about policies, it is invariably about progressive policies and infrastructure. And I think you would agree with me that having a vibrant, strong commuter rail network in this state is good progressive politics in addition to good infrastructure. Senate Majority Leader Loretta Weinberg.
Thank you, Governor Murphy. Get used.
There.
I have to get used.
He's even to your right.
I have to get. That's not possible. And good morning, everybody. I am delighted to be here. That before the first week of your new term is actually up. That's not till tomorrow. That we are here talking about NJ Transit, something that we in the legislature started to oversee with our joint Senate and Assembly legislative committee, and we have taken weeks and weeks of horrifying testimony about what has gone on as this agency has been decimated both by financial resources and human resources. And I would ask one particular observance for this new audit, Governor,
Yes.
and that is that the auditor take a close look at human resources at New Jersey Transit and the more than $10 million that has been paid out over the last decade in lawsuits for sexual harassment and racial bias, more than $10 million. So hopefully the audit will turn up whatever systemic issues have led to this kind of excess at New Jersey Transit. So with that, I want to thank you again for being here, for putting a further spotlight on something that is so important to the economy of New Jersey, which is our transportation infrastructure. And with that, I have a great honor of introducing my colleague from the other side of the aisle, Minority Leader Tom Kane Jr. You know, on this issue, whether we talk about the Port Authority or New Jersey Transit, this has been a real bipartisan partnership every step of the way. So I am delighted. I guess we're in your district too? Yeah, beside that, we're in your district. So welcome to the podium, the Senate Minority Leader, Tom King.
Thank you, Loretta. Thank you. Welcome, first and foremost, welcome to Summit, welcome to District 21. Too many of the commuters in this district and throughout the state have experienced real problems with New Jersey Transit. Lack of transparency, lack of service, lack of communication, and we need to work together on a bipartisan basis to ensure that the worker experience, the commuter experience, and the citizen experience is unparalleled in this nation. This is, as Loretta stated, the Senate and the Assembly Legislative Oversight Committees have been starting to knock at this door for about the last year and longer, talking about the issues that New Jersey Transit has not done for the commuter experience. I believe that Governor Murphy's, this is an important next step to make sure a top to bottom review, to make sure the decisions that have been made in the past were done for the right reasons, but also make sure the decisions made in the future are done in the best interests of the commuting public, because we need to restore confidence not only in this agency, but we need to restore confidence for the commuting public throughout the state. So, Governor, I think this is an important next step. I want to thank you for your leadership in this regard. I look forward to partnering with you to make sure that the New Jersey commuter, New Jersey resident has a better travel and more predictable travel experience. One of the people, so thank you for that and your leadership. It's also my privilege now to introduce a good friend from across Route 24, an individual who has been up in front on this issue as well, John McCain.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Senator, Governor, distinguished guest. I can't believe it's only been 6 days that Phil Murphy's been our governor. And so far, I don't want to miss any. Pay equality, affordable health care just yesterday down in the church as far as dealing with an executive order to deal with that. Government and governor's ethics. And on top of that, I think the EDA is going to undergo an audit. So this is the fifth in 6 days. Are you going to rest tomorrow, Governor, or are you going to still be at it?
We will not. We will not.
We really appreciate your leadership and how the people of New Jersey can see the kind of governor that we're going to have. What I'm sad about, though, Governor, as opposed to you being here in Summit today, I wish sometime this year you'd be in Jersey City and you'd be there cutting a ribbon as to what should have been the ARC tunnel. To put things in perspective, Governor, you'll never have the privilege of cutting that ribbon in your 8 years, nor will the next governor, whoever he or she is, because it's going to be that long. And if we're that fortunate, if you get the knuckleheads in Washington to pay some attention, at least make the right funds available, it's still going to cost New Jersey taxpayers $1 billion more, and it's not going to be our asset. But that, unfortunately, is what the history is. We can only make it better going forward, and I'm so glad that you're making this a priority to move forward with this now. I was privileged to chair, along with Senator Gordon, a bipartisan, bicameral commission that for the last 8 months really looked into New Jersey Transit. All of my colleagues, the senators and the Assemblywoman, were a part of that committee. Our report will be out shortly. But the bottom line, as the governor noted, is that capital funds were all put over on the operation side, and it wasn't as if fares went down. The 30-some% equates to $1,200 a year to the average commuter, and for that, they got the worst service, whether safety or on time, in the entire region. We have to do better, but Governor, the good news is that all the damage that's been done in the last 8 years bringing us to where we are, in the next 8 years, we're going to go back right to the pinnacle, again, of one of the best transit systems. 2 quick points. One is that there are just about 10,000 hardworking men and women that make up New Jersey Transit employees. I can't tell you how often they would come to me, whether they were, and all of us, whether they were administrators, conductors, engineers, you name it, to say how fearful they were of what was going on there, how a place was just rife with political patronage and just put under the thumb not to be able to do their jobs. That's got to stop immediately. We don't need a consultant for that, and I know under this governor's leadership it will. And then the last point, this is perfect with the commuters walking back and forth, because we've heard from a lot of them. So we could talk about all the statistics we want, but talk about the young man that missed his job interview and was sure he didn't get his dream job because he couldn't get there on time. Think of the hourly wage employees who were docked pay because they couldn't get to work on time. Think of the moms and dads on the cell phone saying, please, it's not my fault, daycare, that I can't be home in time. And there's a real human factors to it, let alone the missing of the ball games, the family dinners, you name it. So there's 188,000 of us that are commuters, that are counting on you, Governor, and I know collectively we'll be able to meet that goal. So with that, speaking of my good friend and colleague who is right across the street here and a resident of this lovely town of Summit and a very productive member of the Joint Committee, Assemblywoman Nancy Munoz.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And as they've all noted, this is my home, my town. I've lived here for 28 years. And was a commuter for many years. I am a nurse, but I worked for an insurance company. And the reliability of New Jersey Transit, whether it be the trains, the buses, Amtrak, is all integral to the wealth and the thriving of our community. We're here at a late hour, but if you were to come here between 6:30 and 8:30, this is one of the most bustling train stations out on the Morris-Essex line. So, and I also had the pleasure of joining my three colleagues here on the panel to hear the discussions about what was happening at New Jersey Transit. And I think that this executive order today to do an audit, of a performance audit as well as a financial audit, to look at what is working well, because there are things that are still working well, and what we can do better, and how we can make that happen so that we can have a benefit to the members of our community. Because again, as I say to everybody, even those who don't commute, what our property values out in District 21, in I almost called you Bramnick, sorry. That's my McKeon's district, in Senator Weinberg's district. Our property values are directly linked to our ability to commute to work. And if we don't have that ability, we're going to see people who even don't use that transit system, that their values are going to drop. And for many people, the middle class, the working class, this is one of their number one assets, is their homes. And so what we want to do, so we're looking at it not only from the commuters, but from all the people who live in our districts and in the state of New Jersey. We want to have reliability, we want to have dependability, we want to have, as everyone's mentioned, courteous service, affordable service, and this is the first step. So it's really a pleasure to be here today to join this bipartisan group as our new governor signs the executive order to do an audit, a performance and financial audit of New Jersey Transit, so that we can get on the road to making New Jersey Transit once again a prime example of excellence across this nation. Thank you very much.
Well said. I think we'll take a couple of questions now before we sign. Is that okay?
Governor, could you discuss, sir, who's going to do the audit and how long you think it's going to take and when we
Yep.
hear the results?
So the audit it's all good questions. The chairperson of NJ Transit is the Commissioner of the Department of Transportation. So again, she would be with us today. She's still obviously subject to Senate approval, which we're hoping will come sooner than later. She will select the consultant or consultants. It might well be, I take Senator Weinberg's comments to heart. The consultant that looks at, for instance, the audits the financial books may be a different one than audits the personnel and human resources side of this. And in terms of timing, and that'll be done expeditiously, in terms of timing, I would point you to sort of a 1 quarter, so plus or minus 3 months. If it slipped to 4, please don't say that we misled you. If we could do it faster, we will. Ma'am, you had your hand up, I know.
Thank you, Governor. You talked about the repairs that are needed. You also talked about obviously some of the financial strain this agency is under. Prior to you taking office, Governor Christie, with the former executive director at NJ Transit, wrote a letter to the guy heading up the new rail tunnel that you said you were in support of.
Yep.
And they committed to
Yeah.
the city. So how are you going to balance that, and are you committing to those fare hikes as well since you support the town?
I'm not, but I would refer you to what I said on that day, kind of classic bottom of the ninth, nobody's looking, 2 outs, quick hurry up, let's get something in place. And as usual, as it relates to the recent experience in NJ Transit, it's the commuter that gets left holding the bag. So we certainly don't like that part of it. I did say at the same time, however, that there was a long overdue requirement to get New Jersey and New York's house in order financially so that we had the credibility, Senator Weinberg knows this with a lot longer history than I do, that we then had the credibility to go to the Trump administration as we had with the Obama administration, where there was a deal in place and say, listen, we have our house in order, we need your down payment. That part I understood. I certainly don't like the fact that it was taken out on the backs of commuters, and that's something that we're going to look very carefully at. Please.
Governor, do you by any chance follow on Twitter some of the appeals that are sent out to you at Murphy, showing pictures of crowded cars? There was a picture today of a broken down train, people walking between trains. I see a lot of intensity on Twitter. I'm just wondering if you ever get a chance to.
Yeah. I'm not on Twitter like our president is. I just want to say that for the record. So I don't want you to think that I'm going to be getting up at 5 in the morning. Thank God, right?
Thank you.
Yeah,
Yes.
just want to say that. Either I or my team, and there's a whole bunch of us in this room today, we get it hard. In fact, Dan Bryan sent me the Bergen County stuff this morning very early before I had a chance to even see it myself. People are, you remember that movie Network where they're all hanging out the window, they're mad as hell and I'm not going to take it anymore? That's the commuter, right? And this, as you can see up here, it transcends partisan politics. These are Democrats, Republicans, independents, kids, as we just saw walking by us. People are mad as heck, and they deserve a better experience, and God willing, that's what we're going to commit to delivering. Anybody in the sit-down section here?
What if the audit turns out that fares haven't been increased enough over the last several years? What's your position then? And is your negotiations with the Trump administration contingent upon this audit? Are you waiting for the result before you try to negotiate on Gateway?
No, the answer on the latter part is no. We need to get that in place as fast as possible, so not related. Now, is it possible that there are some elements that the audit uncovers that do relate to it? Yes. Boy, I'll tell you, I don't know about my colleagues. We're going to be hard-pressed to think, gosh, we should have raised them instead of 36%, 45%. I just can't believe, given how inefficiently this organization has been run. Again, I want to reiterate what I think many of us said. There are really good souls who go to work every day for NJ Transit trying to do the right thing. This is really leadership and direction at the top. I'd be hard-pressed to think that that's a conclusion. I have to believe, I think we have to believe that there are extraordinary inefficiencies in this organization that we can be much smarter about taking advantage of. I said this on the campaign trail. I just want to repeat the frame through which I suspect all of us see this. We're the 4th smallest state geographically in the country. We're the densest state in the country. We sit beside the largest market in the world in New York and one of the largest in the country in Philadelphia. If you're going to get one thing right, it's going to be the commuter rail experience, and that's the frame through which I think we all look at this. One or two more, and then I think we got to jump.
Governor, you described some of the positions within New Jersey Transit as landing spots for connected individuals. If those folks stay employed by New Jersey Transit, how much cooperation do you expect during the audit?
Well, I think, just without speaking about specific individuals, a defining characteristic is going to be competence. And if somebody is competent and they've got transportation, good morning, and infrastructure and commuter rail and or any of the above experience, and they're professionals, we'll give them a look. I mean, you can see the cabinet nominations we've made, several of them have been are folks who served in the Christie administration. That alone does not qualify nor disqualify. But if they don't have competences, if they don't have professional qualifications that are consistent with the ethos of this organization, they will not stay. Maybe one more, Brent?
The federal shutdown entered its first day of the work week today. What are your thoughts, and what can you guys do to mitigate the impact?
Yeah, my thoughts are, I can't believe this is happening. I lived through this as an ambassador overseas, where we had to furlough people, and we're now seeing this drama again, I think for the 3rd time in the past, as I recall, 3rd time this decade. I had promised on the campaign trail that we would have a much closer relationship between our branch of government and our federal delegation. And so we did something about that and had a conference call on Saturday, bipartisan federal delegation on the phone with us. I don't know that we accomplished a lot, but we made sure the lines of communication were open. And we had we're trying to study right now where this is biting us. Non-essential employees at the Joint Air Base are being furloughed. We look at how much funding is left in some of the safety net programs. The longer this goes on, the more challenging it will be. And I'd like to think that greater minds, cooler heads will prevail and we can get a compromise. It just bothers me deeply that our kids who are subject to the Children's Health Insurance Program are being held hostage. It bothers me deeply. I'm of Irish immigration. The Germans, Italians of 150 years ago, we're doing stuff to new dreamers in particular now that we never would have done in our nation's history. That's not who we are. I'd like to think that we're not holding those young stars and those young people hostage. Yeah, that's it. We're going to sign it. Thank you all. I want to again thank my bipartisan and good friends, colleagues here today. John, thanks, Dan. Tom, really appreciate it. Senator, bless you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Nancy. I appreciate you being here. Senator Weinberg, I see you right now. Just verifying these are all Phil Murphy pens. Yes. Okay, we're good to go? One shot without my glasses.
Governor, will you move that slide there, standing up from you, move that slide?
I will absolutely. Is that what it says, by the way? I thought it had an arrow. Who is this guy? Okay, now that's business. Senator, your second pen, and I hope the second of many more to come.
My second one week after 8 years of veto. Thank you, Governor.
God bless you, Senator. An honor. Senator King, you're here. First of many, I hope. All right. Thank you. God bless you. The second. For another pen? John, where are you? God bless you, buddy. Honor to be with you. Hence, I'm very honored to be in your town.
Thank you very much,
We're
sir.
the first of many to come.
Bipartisan.
Nora, you're up next here. Mayor? Thank you so much for having us. Yeah, huge first minute. Sergio, to you, in your capacity as the boss of the freeholders and also on behalf of all of your colleagues. And I want to sign two leaders who wanted to be here today, Senator Bob Gordon and Assemblyman Dan Benson. So I want to say for the record that they each, I want to give this to make sure Senator Gordon gets that. Thank you, sir. Sam. And Assemblyman Dan Benson. You mind? That's it. Thank you all.
It'd be hard for us to be fair.